Hey guys, how's it going? It's Miyoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. And sorry for missing last week. The weather, my husband is right in front of me, by the way, today. And it's going to distract me a lot. But yeah, last week, the weather changed dramatically. So like my body couldn't, adjust and so forth. But anyway, 音量下げてもらえますかね。そっちの音量下げて、下げた？はい。Okay, super chat. Thank you for your super chat. If the founders foreseen the future, we would have a different 2A, a well-protected public being necessary to the security of a free state. The duty of the people to keep and bear arms shall be enforced. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the American Constitution or? I don't know, but thank you so much for your super chat. I need some explanation to that, though, to the comment. Okay. Let's go from the top. This is a Q&A session, and I'm gonna briefly, I should give you the background, maybe. Like, I know that we will be talking about the tragedy that happened to Mr. Abe. So I'll give you the background, okay? So we are in the middle of the national election right now. The election period started June 22nd and it ended yesterday. And today is the voting day. And so for that, many politicians and powerful people are touring around inside of Japan and give each other support and so forth. And so Abe was there in Nara Prefecture to give a speech. So like he's been giving speech. He was giving speech in many different places. But anyway, so he was shot during his speech in Nara Prefecture, and he died on the same day at the age of 67, which was a little odd because the age is the same as his father, just so you know. And his colleague and his best friend Taro Asos said, according to the news, that Abe wanted to live at least until 70 because his father died at the age of 67, which is the same as him. But anyway, so I don't know how much you know about former Prime Minister Abe, but he had the same disease as me, actually, ulcerative colitis, and it's an incurable disease in the guts. And I guess that his case was severe, but anyway, even though he had the condition, he became the youngest prime minister of Japan, and his first administration had to end because of all the what you call like scandals and so forth. But he came back about a decade later, I guess, in 2012, and since then he became the longest serving prime minister in Japan. So like everybody here, like especially young people today, if you ask them, about politics, then he's the face. Prime Minister Abe is the face of the Japanese politics. So that's like we have the impression because he was serving for such a long time. But anyway, about the shooting, it happened on Saturday. No, when was that? 2 days ago here, and it was before noon. And what kind of details should I give? So basically, the shooting happened when he was making a speech, and he was open to the space like 360 degrees, like all around him. It was the free space basically, even though the main audience was right in front of him. So the security people and the police, they were looking at those people and not the behind and so forth. And so right now, there are all these accusations coming from the public, and including me, like, why did this happen and so forth. But anyway, what happened to former Prime Minister Abe on the spot was that he was shot twice from behind. And the first one, I guess, the criminal missed it. And the second time, it hit him, and it got into his body through his upper left arm, and then I don't know which left arm or left side of his body. And then what happens when you are shot is that it, I guess, circulates. So basically what happened, my husband just demonstrated right in front of me, but basically he was talking like this, and then he heard something, right? Because the criminal shot from behind, so he did this for like to this direction. So then it shot him from here to then, I guess, it came into the body like this, and then it damaged his neck and also the left side of, like, around his heart. And around his heart there's like, I mean, in human bodies, there's a huge vessel nearby, so it damaged that, and so he lost his life to blood loss. So, and at the same time, though, there was the Nursing Federation. I don't know the translation, but lots of nurses there, because they are one of the organizations that support LDP. And so I don't know if it's Abe's secretary or LDP people, but right after he was shot, somebody was screaming, like, where is the nurse, from the organization. So then they came up and they did everything they could on the spot, and they even reached out to AED, so-called AED. So like basically it fixes, like it gives you a little electronic shock to your heart, and so if there's still a pulse, then it can help the situation. But it didn't even react, because I guess basically he was, his function collapsed on the spot, I suppose. But he was still, carried to the good hospital nearby by the doctor helicopter. So that was smooth and all good. And all the doctors there, the doctors, did everything they could. And I hear that they used 100 units of blood. So I'm not a nurse or doctor, so I don't know how much that is, but I hear that it's like, it probably, like, from what I read on Twitter, so I don't know, but what I saw was like that the amount is as much as it circulates, like changes the whole body for 3 times or something. So like lots of blood. And so, but he doesn't, like, people are not like legally dead until the doctor says a time, right? So, and his chest was open, and they did a massage to the heart, and he was alive for hours. And so after his wife came to the hospital, then they called it, I guess it was 5 p.m. So he unfortunately died. But in the meantime, the media was reporting. I actually was sleeping in the living room that day for some reason, and the TV was on. And so I woke up to the nightmare that, like, I kept hearing from the news that Abe shot. So I was like, what the hell? I watched the TV, and the news kept going about the incident. So repeatedly we kept seeing the footage and what happened to him and so on. But anyway, so he was shot by this self-made gun, which I suppose this will have to, like, this will affect the American politics too, maybe. But of course we have gun control, but because of the gun control we have, it's very strict, and nobody expects others to have a gun, right? So we have no awareness to what could happen. The people nowadays have knowledge and they can just Google everything. So, and I don't know how this criminal got to know what he knew, but he made this gun with two pipes, and the security couldn't, protect him. But which side should I go for? The why he did it and so forth. Let's go with what kind of criminal he seems to be. Like, we don't know the full picture yet, but what we have heard so far is that his background as occupation, the media is reporting that he served in the Maritime Self-Defense Force here, but it was only for 3 years until 2005, so it's one term. So we are not sure how much knowledge he got through that time. And after that, he was a dispatched worker and so forth, changing his jobs. And what I heard was a forklift worker, and also he worked at this plastic factory or something. So like that sort of workplace. And as for his family, which has things to do with the motive of the crime, but so his mother, it's reported that his mother gave a huge donation to this certain religious group. The media is not talking about the name of the groups, at least in Japan, so we don't know which religious group yet officially. But so the mother donated so much money to this religious group, so then he actually got herself bankrupted. So then the family, broke down. And what happened to the criminal, the criminal, is that the mother belonged to this religious group, and then he belonged to this other religious group that is like separated from the mother's religious group. And then those two religious groups are in conflicting with each other, like they're fighting or something. And so for that, and so personally he was mad at his mom, and the religious group. So he was initially planning on attacking or killing the executive of the religious group, but it was difficult for him. So then he decided to kill or murder former Prime Minister Abe, because his understanding, which is probably or wrong, it's wrong politically, but he thought that the religious group that his mother belonged to has it is connected to former Prime Minister Abe. So then, because the criminal couldn't attack the religious group executive, he decided to go for Prime Minister Abe, who he thought was connected to the group. So then the criminal traveled around, going after former Prime Minister Abe, like where he can actually attack. And before that, he of course he was planning for this. So he was experimenting with explosive device, and it didn't work out. So he switched to making guns. So the police went into his place the other day and found like 5 or I'm not sure of the number, but this news that I saw said 5 guns, but self-made guns. And so with all this preparation, he started to find the right place to actually take it into action. And so he went to Kobe, and also Okayama Prefecture. Actually, he was um, uh, uh, in Okayama Prefecture the day before he killed former Prime Minister Abe. And in Okayama, of course, there was a big gathering too, and for the election, and former Prime Minister Abe was speaking on stage, and there's even the footage of that. And what's crazy is that it seems that he was there too, the previous day. And yeah, so he was really like preparing for this. But as for the former Prime Minister Abe's schedule, though, on the day that he was murdered or assassinated, he was supposed to go to Nagano Prefecture, like a different prefecture, but the day before, actually, it was announced only in the evening or later that former Prime Minister Abe was going to Nara, where he was killed. So it was decided all of a sudden, and then the criminal just came in, like didn't miss the chance. So that's how it is. And on the internet right now, it's rumor that it's probably the religious group is probably the Unification Church from Korea. And like the religion is Korea, but some people here believe in that religious group. And we believe that if it's a Unification Church, then the separated organization will be Sanctuary, and it's in the US too. And Sanctuary believes in, like, I don't know where it stands, but they have guns. Like if you see the founders picture and so forth, they are carrying, like they are holding the like huge rifle or something, like the huge gun. So like it makes sense when you think about it. And I saw earlier online, I looked up Unification Church, and surprisingly, they issued a statement. And in the statement, you can see that that they said that in their beliefs, they don't have guns, or what was the exact word? I'm using it in my cell phone. Unification. Unification. Let me look it up real quick. Church Abe, and then this one. Guns have no place in our religious beliefs or practices, and that's the Unification Church statement. So that's like an attack to Sanctuary, So it's like we don't know from the Japanese reporting why, because I guess that it's either the police is looking into it to make sure that it's concrete information, and they're still investigating, or it could be that the police is not or the media is not reporting because it's the election time, that it can actually affect the society and the election, which is today. So but either way, it's a matter of time, so we'll be hearing about that. About Unification Church, though, it's been in our political discussion, actually, because back in 60s, former Prime Minister Abe's grandfather was a prime minister, and during his time, his grandfather was fighting for security. And so all these leftists back then were protesting against the US-Japan Security Treaty. But of course, Abe's grandfather, he wanted to have our alliance, and he wanted to make sure that we're protecting the country together and so forth. So for that, movement, though, the leftists had their funding, and the right side, like, his grandfather's side, they were getting money. I heard, at least from my husband earlier, that they were getting funded by CIA and KCIA from Korea and the Unification Church. So there are ties, but it's not like he is the religious group person. You know what I mean? They get donations, but yeah, something like that. But anyway, so all these things happened, and what was impressive was how Donald Trump reacted, and the timing too. Like, he reacted way earlier than others, and compared to Biden especially. And so what happened was, I was watching the TV the whole time since it happened, and the American side, the first that I saw was, I don't remember which one was first, but the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Japan, Emmanuel, he tweeted, like, at the early stage about this tragedy. And then, so I saw that I saw his support, and at the same time I saw Trump's support. And as for Trump, I saw that on Twitter, no, on TV. And then minutes later, for the first time, I saw the news of the White House statement. So it came in, at least on TV, like NHK, our public service. So it's like national level, basically, TV station. But they reported Trump first, and then White House, and then half a day later, Biden's statement. So I don't know why the delay was there. Of course, it was a nighttime in America, and of course, people have to sleep. But it was just, I don't know, like, I don't know what to think about that, And but yeah, so the Japanese people are so sad now, and I really, like, it really still, like, breaks my heart that this is the newspaper that I had to see the next day. So it says, Abe, former prime minister, shot to death. So, and all the newspaper has the same, like, exactly the same title on this day. Not assassinated, though. So that's the wording has been bothering me. And there's a picture of him collapsing too. But yeah, I don't know why, but the Japanese media is not calling this an assassination. They're saying, like, oh, Abe was shot. It's a shooting thing for some reason. So that's something that I've been seeing. And also, but yeah, we are mourning right now, so we are watching his videos, and especially his piano playing one. He's not very good, but he's trying. And he's just such an amazing, like, lovable, sophisticated, charismatic politician. And yeah, and he was eating all these Fukushima foods too, when people were, thinking that Fukushima, the earthquake happened and nuclear disaster happened. People are saying, like, oh, the food is contaminated and so forth. But former Prime Minister Abe, he was like, this is good. And with a smile, he ate a lot of Fukushima foods, and also Taiwanese pineapple. And yeah, we are very thankful for, all these other countries that are, mourning for us. Of course, the US and Taiwan, India, and UK. Like, I see, even just on Twitter, I see lots of support for Japan. And it's really, I realize how much Shinzo Abe was evaluated highly, and that he was loved. Yeah. And at the same time, though, we see the past footage and so forth from the left side, there's this politician named Taro Yamamoto, and he's basically the Japanese Ocasio-Cortez. Like he's a former comedian and actor, but he was basically nobody but a decent face and no the ability to speak and also memorize. So what Ocasio-Cortez does basically, so his brains think about what to say, he memorizes it and perform on the spot and with lots of hand gestures and so forth. But anyway, he made a joke before. Oh, really? My husband said that there's a super chat. I should react to that first, I guess. Okay, I'm talking so much, but I just wanted to make sure that we are on the same page with all the background and so forth, so that we can actually talk and you guys can, ask questions and so forth. Anyway, let's go from here. Let's go from Daniel. Thank you for your super chat. If the government found out it was the CCP, the CCP would find it. If the government found out it was the CCP, okay, would they tell the Japanese public or keep it quiet to keep things peaceful? Do Japanese think it was CCP? No, we don't think it was CCP. It was just this crazy man with crazy imagination, thinking that Abe had ties with this certain religious group, and because he couldn't, attack the executive or the religious group, he thought it would be a good idea to attack Abe instead, because he thought that they were close. So yeah, but if it was CCP, I think they will report. 中国共産党が犯人だったら報道するよね、別に。言ったの？それはするだろうね。その場合はね。Yes, yes. So we don't think that the media would cover it up. Yeah. Thank you for super chat. Oh, thank you for extra super chat. Security was facing the likely threat direction. This has not happened in Japan in decades. It's not a thing they are familiar with. This is like 9/11 on a smaller scale. Yeah, you could say that. Like I don't know what you think about Kennedy. Like many people have different thoughts about him. So I don't know if it's the good comparison, but as Japanese, when we saw the news, it's like what we feel is like, oh, that's like, when Kennedy was assassinated, it's the same level, because the world knows, and it was like, it's like it was in people's eyes. The Kennedy was for Kennedy, he was like driving in, right? Like he was in a car and shot. But he was making a speech in public and then shot. So what's interesting though is this digital era, by the way, that the NHK reporter sucked at filming what happened. So like she was recording former Prime Minister Abe until he was shot, and when she heard the sound, the camera just go off of him, and so like we can't see what's happening, and then we can see the criminal, but that's all we got. But thanks to this generation, we have lots of cameras everywhere, and people were filming, so we have lots of different angles and we know what happened. So that's good. But yeah, it's like the Japanese people, we were just so heartbroken right now. Like it's like what Abe is to us is like, for conservatives, it's like how Trump is to America. That's the best comparison for conservatives. But in America, Trump is hated by the other half of the population. So I don't know, but that's for us. It's like that, So it's such a powerful person, ending his life like this. Like we can't accept this. So we're still trying to digest what just happened. Like it's so crazy, man. 荒垣さん、ありがとうございます。英語はわかりませんが、ヨコさんのことだから、きっと日本人の誇りを語ってくれていると信じてやめません。ありがとうございます。今はちょっと事件の、背景を説明していましたので、これからちょっといろいろ質問とか来たら答えられたらなと思っています。2000円もスーパーチャットありがとうございます。ちょっと誤解のないように、ちゃんと事実関係とかをきちんと説明したいと思います。はい。Okay, super chat. Oh, Jacob, thank you for super chat. American here. Abe was always a hero of mine, stood up to the CCP. Yes. When the history books are written, he will be seen as a great hero. God bless Japan. Thank you. Thank you so much for your understanding and your kind words. Yes, I've been liking on Twitter that people remember the picture, like in the world, people remember the picture of Abe standing up next to Trump like this with like folded hands with folded hands, like the same gesture with Trump against Merkel. And yeah, it's a great picture against globalists. I mean, Abe is often recognized as a globalist himself, but it was team Trump, Abe and Trump, and then against Merkel and so forth. So that was good. But yeah, it's crazy. We are saying this in Japan a lot that it's like we are witnessing the history, assassination, war, and this pandemic. Like we thought that it's something that we only read in the history book, but it's been happening here now, like for the past years. And like Abe was shot, like you. The crazy part as Japanese is that, again, we are a gun controlled country, so we don't expect that our leader will be shot to death. Like who would imagine that? Like I would still I think I could still digest what just happened if it was that he was stabbed by a knife, but he was shot by a self-made gun. So that part, I guess that I'm still trying to understand what happened. Like I understand it by my head, but I can't. I don't know. Like I can't understand it. Thank you for super chat, Chipicus. You should join Chrissy Mayer's podcast. Mayer or Meyer? Chrissy, okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I will check that out. Thank you so much. I was surprised that is it Jack Pose something. I don't know his last name, but on Twitter I was retweeting his tweets a lot. But I'm surprised that some American like conservative people are tweeting about this case. That it's we are thankful and grateful that people from all around the world are caring about this case, about Abe and our feelings and so forth. And what I see politically is that the world is re-evaluating Mr. Abe for his policies, that all these things, that the policies that he influence the world with. First it was his security diamond concept. It's called security diamond. So basically Japan and India and Australia, and what was the other one? So basically he came out with this concept, which is now the foundation of free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. So he it's his strategy, free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. And then Trump administration, they, went with that too. So yeah, and Quad and everything. It's really good, like what he did, and also economically too. Prime Minister Abe's Abenomics. Yeah, it was supposed to work better, but he had to raise the consumption tax twice during his time. And there's this opposition party right now. There's okay, let me rephrase. There's this leader from this opposition party from here in Japan called Kokumin Minshu, like the Democratic Party, basically, but a good version. Like we have different types of former Democratic Party, but anyway, one of them, the leader is saying that this opposition party leader evaluates highly of Abenomics, but he's saying that it was not good that he raised Abe raised the consumption tax twice, and then according to the party leader, Abe said that it was like it's because the Ministry of Finance is strong. So like basically, it's the finance of ministry that has the power over taxes and so forth. And so Abe had to listen to them for his power struggles. So like, yeah, he had to, compromise here and there. But at least we know from what the opposition party leader just said, that former Prime Minister Abe, he actually wanted to fix it and he knew how, but he couldn't due to power struggles. So it just coming into the light. Oh, another super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I'm American and I respected the hell out of Abe. I'm not an emotional person, but when I saw the video of it on NHK English feed, it brought me to tears. Oh, thank you for, all your kind of words and your hearts. Yes. I think that many people are feeling like that too. That, like, what I saw on Twitter yesterday was this random gamer. I'm a gamer, so I look at all these tweets from Japanese gamers, but one of them, like, they are young, so probably like in teenage. He's probably in the 20s, but he was saying that when I think about prime ministers, I think of Prime Minister Abe, even though I don't go vote. So that was a controversial part, that he's proudly saying that, I don't go vote. But yeah, but the important thing is that everybody thinks of Prime Minister Abe and they have a good impression, especially the young people. Why? Because, their life was supported by Abe administration. During his time, the economy was very good, and like he was fixing all the economic problems. So what's often said was the university students, when they were looking for jobs after graduation, it was way easier than before. And yeah, it was the society was good, in general. So yeah. Anyway. Okay, another super chat. Thank you. Japan is actually America's greatest ally. Oh, thank you. It's the greatest, not just great, but greatest. That's good to hear. But that's the thing about Abe, though. His grandfather too worked hard on the alliance right after the World War II. We were enemies, but then he knew that we had to stand together, right? And then his grandson, former Prime Minister Abe, he knew the importance of, like, how important it is for Japan and the US to stand together. So former Prime Minister Abe, he himself worked on the security bill too, which was approved in 2015 during Abe administration. And yeah, and also what's great about former Prime Minister Abe is that he was such an international person. Like he could speak English not super fluently, but he is sophisticated enough to speak English and communicate, in English. And also he was good at giving speeches in English too. And what was great was that during his time, first it was Obama. Oh no, it was back the first administration. I don't remember what time that was with Abe, but like 2007 or so. I don't remember who the leader was in America. Maybe Bush, or I don't remember. I don't remember. But so when it comes to the like recent administrations of his, he was a great friend of Obama, and then Trump, especially Trump. Like Obama was, he's a Democrat, and I guess they do get along, but not very much. But as for Trump, the political dynamics is exactly the same in Japan and the U.S., as I explained many times before. And so Trump is fighting against the media and and all the left activists in the U.S. And he was like basically what Trump wanted to do was to make America great again, right? And former Prime Minister Abe, his slogan was to take back Japan. He wanted to build Japan again, like stronger again. So basically the same thing. And they are like, there is common between Trump and Abe, that they wanted to, fight against CCP, and also they wanted to fix the economy. And by doing that, the media and all these people with like what's called like I forget the word, but like people with interests, they became the enemies of them. And so yeah, it's the same thing. And so yeah, it was great that when President Donald Trump was elected, before the inauguration, so meeting during Obama time, Shinzo Abe flew to America and meet Donald Trump. Like he was elected, but it was still Obama time. But then he went to see Donald Trump. So of course, by that, their relationship, friendship started well. So former Prime Minister Abe was so good at stuff like that to grab the heart, even of Putin. Man, did you see the news? The Putin even commented on his death, and he praised former Prime Minister Abe. And also, the Japanese people are sharing this picture of former Prime Minister Abe, Trump, and then Putin, and all together just having fun, like at the party. And then actually, there's the back of a head of Xi Jinping too. So like, oh, these world leaders, problematic ones included, and they're just there smiling, drinking together. And it's like, so we're like, why did this happen? Like former Prime Minister Abe, he was no longer a prime minister too because of his health issue. He could go on a little bit longer because his term allowed it, but he couldn't go any longer because his health declined. And it was COVID, and also the massive, the media is always his enemy. And yeah, if things were different, if COVID wasn't, spread to the world, then I think that Trump would have been, elected again too. And Abe would survive longer as a politician. So that would mean that Putin wouldn't be as crazy, right? And both leaders would have like, Abe and Trump, they would would have kept the power, the same level of power, even after they, resign from that position. So then that means that Putin I don't think that he could be as crazy as right now. So things would have been way different. But man, COVID, man, CCP, they destroyed everything because everything is a consequence. Oh yeah, Kitokengi, vested interest, yes. People like that are the enemies of people like Abe and Trump. Yeah. Yes, so it's crazy. Thank you guys for all your comments. Sorry, I keep talking and I am not picking up much at all, except for super chat. Sorry. So yeah, some people were asking about CCP and the connection with the assassination. I don't think there's connection. Yeah, thank you for all your kind comments. Oh, super chat. There's super chat. Let me see. Not this one. どこだ？一番下か。Okay. Oh, super chat, Johnny. Thank you. Konnichiwa, Yoko. I was wondering, I'd like to fundraise for your trip to fly over here and participate in one of Trump's rally. Interested? Rest in peace, Abe. Oh, I am interested. But I'm always with my husband though, so like I can't travel around alone. But we were actually talking about, it's actually my idea, that I wanna stay in America for a little while. Not so long, probably like a month or something like that. But if we could stay in America, and that would give us many good opportunities to actually see America together. And also we want to build connections, and also I want him to be better at English so that he can talk to you directly. So yeah, he does have all this grammatic knowledge and everything, and so like when he reads, he can read. But when it comes to like communication, like he doesn't know slangs, or he can't form a sentence inside of his head when he's speaking. So like that kind of training he still has to get. So yeah. But anyways, we are interested in flying to America. Yes, fundraising is such a good idea. Can you do that? I'll be happy if you could. Yes, and also, another thing. Let's show you guys today's newspaper. So in Okayama Prefecture, like the criminal was there the day before, aiming to attack him, and suspect religious group hatred. So hatred for the religious group, and you can see that this is a criminal. And it's interesting because this is actually his face right here is right before he shot Abe, because this is from the footage of NHK. Like NHK just had a camera ready, and then he was just standing there, looking for the spots, like where to go on, at the place that he murdered Abe. And all these people are so, I guess they are, mokto, like they are praying for Abe. And so where it happened, where the shooting happened, there are lots of I guess now they have a little tent for people that come there to, you know, what's the word? I don't know the word, but they come to pray for Abe, and they bring flowers and so forth. So there like a long line of people trying to come to the place where he collapsed. And oh yeah, and this is the important part of this case, but violence, like not giving in to violence, last appeal election voting today. So all these party leaders here especially are saying that, even though we are sad, we shouldn't stop our election. This cannot stop our election. That like, this is not only the this shooting is not only a matter of murdering our former leader, but this is about democracy. Like, I know that you guys don't like the word democracy, but we use that here. And so we are seeing it as a threat to democracy, and because it's violence. If you justify violence, then we can't have the politics that we have today, that like we can't reflect our voice. And one thing I wanted to say something. I remembered a little and then I forgot. I have lots of emotion right now, so like oh yeah, okay, now I remember. So there's this in Japan, we are saying that just like Trump, the easy way to think about it is, remember when Kathy Griffin beheaded Trump's doll? The Kathy Griffin, the comedian, was holding the head of Trump, right? And it was not so much of a problem. Like, she did lose some of her jobs, I guess, but it was like she thought that it was a normal thing to do that because she thought that Trump was that much of an evil. And same for Abe. The leftists here attacked, including the media. They demonized Abe so much that it was so normal to see the phrase saying, "Die, Abe, die," kill Abe. Even this professor, actually a good university here, a professor at the protest against Abe, like he was at the protest against Abe, and he was saying, "Abe, I'm gonna smack you and kill you." And so like all these leftists were murdering Abe by words. And there was this atmosphere that, like, they called it Abe politics, and they will not, like, their phrase was that we will not tolerate to Abe's politics, or like we can't forgive Abe or something like that. And so basically demonizing Abe enough to create the atmosphere in the society that Abe is powerful and he is the cancer of Japan. That's the picture that the media kept reporting. And so for a criminal like this crazy man, I know that, like, from what I can hear from his statement, I don't know if it's true, but it seems to be the family problem. His mother donating too much money, like so much money enough for bankruptcy, and so it's a family problem. And then he wanted to blame somebody, and he wanted to blame, of course, the religious group executive is bad, but I bet he's bad and he's powerful and he's connected, let's kill him, right? Like, that's what happened. And if so, what that means is that if the atmosphere of the society was different, like, for example, we have our tenno, like, it, know the existence as emperor. But so emperor is like, if you say that in emperor, it's lost in translation. But anyway, let's say our emperor. Nobody wants to kill him, like even communists here. Communists want to end our tenno, our emperor culture and history, so that they can just, have a revolution and start all over again. And that's their goal, but they cannot do that. Why? Because the atmosphere is that we love our emperor and so sacred that we cannot even not even touch, but like we can't even get close. That's the atmosphere. So, but on the other hand, for Abe, the leftists kept saying that Abe is the bad guy, he's evil, that he deserves to die. Actually, right after he was shot, the supporter of the party called Reiwa, so basically Yamamoto Taro, like Taro Yamamoto's party, like Ocasio-Cortez-ish party, the supporter of that party were many of them were saying on Twitter like, oh, Abe deserved it. Like, of course, like, oh, like this assassinator is a hero. Like they wrote stuff like that, not knowing that he was gonna die though. So after that, they deleted all these tweets. But leftists are so crazy here. And right now, though, the party leader, Taro Yamamoto, the Japanese AOC, he's saying like, oh, we're like, I really like, he was, when he was still, Abe was still alive, he was saying like, oh, I really hope that Abe will make it, and stuff like that. But we know that he's lying. So, yeah. And we're going to have so much problem politically too, that Abe was still powerful in, like, even though Abe was no longer the prime minister of us, he was still powerful inside of his party. And so what that means is that I even kept seeing him on the news. He is not the prime minister, but he kept raising his voice about revising our constitution so that we can fix our self-defense situation. We could have the actual army to protect ourselves and contribute to the world peace and so forth. And yeah, he has also like the abduction problem by North Korea. North Korea abducted like hundreds of Japanese people, and they still have them kept inside of their nation. And former Prime Minister Abe was the most passionate politician to work on that problem. So he was talking about that too. So he would get on the news. And also but yeah, now he's gone. So all these things, the conservative strategies that he wanted to push from behind, he was the guy behind the curtains now, but he's gone now. So where do we conservatives go? LDP is supposed to be the conservative party in Japan, but it's because our society is left biased. So like, what's a little what like LDP is, of course there are conservative politicians inside of the party too, but it's not a conservative party, like far from a conservative party. And it's a liberal liberal democratic party, LDP. So yeah. And so what that means is that it's a huge party. And so we don't know where the party will go to, because there are lots of pro-China politicians inside of the party. And there are those who don't care about Japan, and they just want votes. So they just listen to whatever they hear in the public and pick it up, and they reflect on policies. So yeah, we're going to have such a problem. There are good politicians though, and today is the voting day, so I really hope that it's not it is a national level election today, but it's not as powerful as House of Representatives. Today's election is called House of Councilors election, and so it's House of Councilor, and it's only the half of the House of Councilors get elected, so it's not even the whole House of Councilor members. So yeah, and so it's not as powerful as in election, but yeah. Oh man. Oh, super chat. Let's see. Oh, Nick, thank you. Was a religious cultist. Yeah, totally not a CCP implant. Yes. Wow, you know very well. Yes, a cult. Some kind of cult. Because, yeah, his mother bankrupted her family and the criminal suffered. But at the same time, the criminal belonged to the separated group. So he was a cult himself. Yeah. Must go make lots of babies for Abe. Yeah. What's sad is that former Prime Minister Abe doesn't have a baby. You know, he doesn't have kids. I wish that, you know, he would have, you know, his mini Abe, but he doesn't. He does have a younger brother, though, our Minister of what's called Defense. Yeah, so. Mm. Oh, another. Another. なんで英語やねん My husband is telling me, my husband is right here right now helping this stream, and he notices the super chat and tells me, but he's like, oh, there's another in English, not Japanese, because I'm only speaking English. It's funny. Anyway, deport all pro-CCP politicians to mainland China. I wish we could do that, yeah. Many conservative people wish that, yes. Yeah, CCP. I'm pretty sure. Oh, when it comes to CCP, I have to tell you that CCP did come to our territorial water. Was it territorial water? 領海だったっけ？来たよね、尖閣にね、昨日。Like, they're still coming to our waters around Senkaku Islands, even this time. Like, because they want to make believe that, you know, the islands are theirs, of course, like every day, like whether whoever dies, like they go around the islands, I guess. But China, CCP is now happy that Abe is gone, right? I saw on Twitter at the early stage that China has their own version of Twitter called Weibo, and somebody screenshotted the Chinese nationalists celebrating this shooting. Yeah, but not all of them though. Like some Chinese people are, sad about this, and I did see some reaction on the same platform, Weibo. But I guess the majority are just happy because CCP is the huge one that demonizes Abe, for their benefits. So yeah. Ironically enough, Kazuki Takahashi passed away just a few days prior to Abe's assassination. Is it like the comic person or? Kazuki. Yeah, comic artist, right? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was gonna be, our news, but yes. Hello, husband. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Almost one.
Almost. Oh yeah, it's been an hour. I should go. I have to go vote today. Ishi Hidetoshi, do you know the author Gordon G. Chang? Good in your opinion? He's saying yes, yes. Yeah, we met Gordon Chan twice, I think, or 3 times, like at CPAC. He comes every time there's a CPAC in Asia. And so we met in Tokyo and also in South Korea.
I follow his Twitter.
My husband said I follow his Twitter.
彼はね、すごく信仰心が強いよね。だからいいなと思ってるけどね。
信仰、何の信仰心？
クリスチャニティ。
Gordon Chan. My husband is saying that Gordon Chan has a strong faith in Christianity, so that he's good. Yeah. Shinzo Abe was once in a lifetime visionary and a true giant in Japanese politics. He died as he lived, a happy warrior for the cause he gave his life to. My heart is truly broken by this news. Thank you for all your kind words. Yeah, like if this was, I shouldn't say this, but if this was the current prime minister, we wouldn't be, we may not be as shocked, but Abe was loved so much. Like he's just like I just can't believe that he was murdered by such a trash like this, like he doesn't deserve this, that he contributed a lot for our country and for the world. And I don't know why he had to end his life like this. But I guess that like every cloud has a silver lining, right? So I want to believe that he had to end this way so that he would end up on textbooks. And this is shocking. So now, because of his death, people's eyes in the world are now coming back to Japan again. The world is suffering right now. We have a lot of different problems in the world. But the huge one, the biggest problem is definitely CCP. And when people's attentions come back to Japan, they I hope will realize that now we are picking the leader of Asia. Not just, of course, America is fighting against CCP, like at the world level, right? Like America and China, like two huge countries. Like if you compare by GDP, I don't know if you guys compare by GDP, but that's what we Japanese do here. When we look at the size of countries, and it's America and then China and then Japan. Japan is actually the third place in the world. However, our level, like it's one digit, like it's, I don't know how to say that, but it's way smaller than the top two. Like we can't even compare ourselves to America and China. And so America is fighting against CCP, but we have actually fueled CCP for the past decades, and they have become so huge, and now they are expanding militarily speaking. And in Asia, it's either China or Japan. So the world has to pick either one. But now I see all these evaluations about Abe coming from the world. So that's a kind of a relief to a certain point. So with that, we have to move on, with all this accomplishment of former Prime Minister Abe, we have to carry on with what he wanted to do. He aligned all these things that we have to do. So we have to live for the time that he couldn't live. I saw the news, though, that his wife was saying that former Prime Minister Abe wanted to become like a movie producer or something. Like he wanted to make movies with his wife after he resigns from being a politician. And I'm so sad that I can't see that either. Like he has so much potential still, you know. Man. So, but I'm really thankful for like every single one of you that care about his death and about our country. Like all this kind comments. Sorry, I'm not picking that up, but I'm, you know, it's in my sight that you guys are giving all this, you know, kind words about Abe, and I really, really appreciate it. Oh, super chat.
うん、いいか。
Nick, thank you. Abe told Kazuki, see you in the shadow realm, Jimbo. Ooh. They had, were they connected? I didn't know. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with like comic world. Like I know a bit of gaming, but not comics. So I don't know. But yeah, I saw Honda, our like a Japanese soccer player, like the world class soccer player. Yeah, he was. He tweeted about Abe too, that he was very sad. You know, he had pictures of him and Abe, like 2 pictures or so. He posted on Twitter. Yeah, and even our small wrestler too. You know, where he won the first prize, sumo wrestler from Mongolia, but yeah, he's a Japanese sumo wrestler now. And when he won the first place, it was during Abe administration. So Prime Minister Abe gave the huge cup, like it's really heavy, but to the small wrestler. So the small wrestler had the picture on Twitter too. So everybody is, you know, sharing memories, and we are trying to understand what just happened, you know. Okay, I want to keep talking, but I have to go voting. It's been an hour, so I should go. Yeah.
来週もまた同じ時間でやるって言ってた。
But yeah, next week
結構every week.
and every week, my husband is telling me what to say. He's a good producer, I would say. But anyway, so yeah, I hold live streams every week. Yeah, so every Saturdays for America, and I don't know where others are coming from, but yeah, same days, you know, Saturdays for you probably. If you're on our side of the world, it's Sunday, but the same time. So come back next week. Okay. And yeah, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel and hit the bell so that you get the notification. I feel like I forgot something to say, but yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, translation. Bit. Yes. Yes, it's the same time. Oh, and today, by the way, so I'm gonna go vote after this, and then probably at 8 p.m. Japanese time, I guess. I will be live streaming again today because you know, they will be counting ballots, and I'm gonna watch that on TV, and I'm gonna live stream while doing that. It's like a little festival for us, I guess. So yes, bonsai. Yes, thank you guys all for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, 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 yep.
イングリッシュから聞いてるよ。
Oh, it's gonna be in Japanese, but I guess we'll be just we'll be just chilling here. So like it's gonna be hours long live stream. So it's not like this, you know. I won't be talking much, so you can ask me questions. I can definitely answer in English too. But Japanese people will be watching, so mainly I think that I'll be speaking in Japanese. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. Oh, she's so that's a different kanji though. That's why heart. Thank you for your kind comments. Okay. Okay. Thank you. You guys have a good night. I'm gonna go now. Okay. Thank you for those who gave me super chat too. I really appreciate it. I hope to serve you more. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna go. Ohio. I'm gonna go. Sayonara, sayonara, sayonara. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye. Have a good night or a good day. Bye. Thanks for coming. Bye.